Hey guys, so last year I made this little voice effects project called TKTalkie. I basically wanted to make a voice box for my TK that was relatively inexpensive that would kind of give me that Stormtrooper sound and add all the pops and clicks and everything. But I wanted it to be really customizable and relatively inexpensive and was able to do that. And so I released that project out and made a website, and a lot of people started building it. And then I released version 2 earlier this year that kind of improved upon that and made it a lot more configurable and easier to interface with and change your settings and all that. But I wanted to take it one step further. So I'm about to release version 3, and the really big change with this one is, ta-da! What this is a basically a Bluetooth low energy module that works with both Android and iOS. And I wrote a little app that works along with it. So basically now with this version, you can turn on your TKTalkie, fire up your app. You can control it from the app, all kinds of settings. Anything you could do from the serial interface, you can now do through the app. You can also load multiple profiles. So if you want to use your TKTalkie for different outfits, say you got a biker scout and you'd rather have like a different background loop playing, then you can have a different profile that does that, or you can change the loop on the fly. Or if you have a sand trooper and wanted to play that loop or whatever, or if even different costumes, like you have a bounty hunter and you wanted to tweak it for that, you could absolutely do that. So it's a lot more flexible than it used to be. It's a lot more configurable. The app gives you a whole lot of freedom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire it up and kind of show you how the app works and show you everything you can do with it. So before I get started with the little demo, I just wanted to kind of point out a few things. The case is 3D printed. It's available on my website. The way this works is it uses a Teensy 3.2 with the audio shield. You can choose the kind of input you want to use. You can use a line in input or a mic input. Same thing, headphones out or a line out. The BLE is attached right here. And then the way the configurations are controlled are through a micro SD card. So in previous versions 1 and 2, you would basically load that into your computer, change all your settings, and then you can load up your TKTalkie. And then if you wanted different configurations, you'd basically have to swap out the card. So with version 3, like I said, you can actually store multiple profiles on board on the micro SD card, and you can just change those out on the fly. You can even tweak your settings on the fly. Like for example, I was out trooping with this the other weekend, and if I needed to mute the background loop for any reason, I could just mute that. Or if I needed to mute the whole thing, I could do that. Or if I wanted to swap out a profile, I could do that. So, and of course, I tweaked my settings. Sometimes it's really loud where you are and you need a little more volume or something. So instead of having to turn it up on the speaker all the time, you can actually give it a little volume boost here if you want. So let me get to the demo. Okay, so I've started up the TKTalkie app, and the first thing we need to do is set up a new profile for our TKTalkie device. This will scan for any nearby BLE devices. It takes about 5 seconds. And when the configuration screen comes up, we just simply need to give this a name. Okay, and then we're going to select a device. Now I've programmed my Bluetooth module with my ID number, so it's easy to recognize. You can hear the background loop playing there. Okay, every TKTalkie device has an access code. Now this is not the same as the code you would enter when you pair with a Bluetooth device. This is actually a code you set on your TKTalkie. Another way to kind of secure your device so no one else can connect to it. Okay, and then we just simply connect to the TKTalkie device, and we should hear a sound when it connects. There we go. That means we're connected to the device, and it downloads the profile from the device and presents us with this screen. And you can see you have lots of options here. One of the first things you'll notice is you can select what type of input you want to use. You can use the microphone input, or you can use the line-in input. Now I use the line-in input because I have a wireless microphone, and the receiver actually has power. So if I were to connect that to the microphone port, which also has gain on it, then that can create feedback pretty easily. You would have to adjust your microphone level to make sure you don't create a lot of feedback. So as a good rule of thumb, it's best to use line-in if you're using wireless microphones or anything with powered output. Typically the wired headphones that come with like the Acres or Piles, you would connect to the microphone port and then use the microphone level to give it some gain. You'll also notice right here is this big green button. That is the mute button. That lets you quickly mute the speaker so you can hear the background loop playing. If I hit the mute button. So on the next screen, you see you have some voice controls, like the voice volume, which controls the output level of your voice, and the voice on and off levels. Now these levels control at what volumes does your microphone activate and deactivate. And this lets you prevent things like accidentally setting off your microphone just by breathing or clearing your throat. You can set it to where you can actually whisper inside your helmet if you need to, and it won't set it off. So it gives you very finite control. So let me give you a quick demonstration of how the voice volume would work.
So this is me talking at regular volume level. This is what it would sound like if I cranked it up a little bit.
Now I also want to point out that on any of these settings, you can use the sliders to move these levels back and forth, but you can also tap directly on the number, and then you have a little more fine adjustments. So you have single up and down steps right here, and then these will jump depending upon the setting, anywhere from a single point to a tenth of a point or a 500th of a point. It just depends on the setting and how sensitive it needs to be. Okay, and on the effects screen, you can see you have a lot of different sliders here. So the first one is the effects level, and this is how loud the pops and clicks and the microphone and the static and all that sounds after you finish talking. Now the bit crushers, what those do is those actually kind of digitize your voice and compress it a little bit, make it sound more Stormtrooper-y, make it sound more like it's coming over a radio. And the radio noise volume is the background white noise that plays while you're talking. So this next screen lets you control the sounds that are played through your TKTalkie. You can see right here I have this startup file that plays whenever you first start it up.
It's a little short for a Stormtrooper.
So all these files are located on the micro SD card, and you can have as many files on there as you want depending on the capacity of your card. And then you can just select from this drop-down list. As you can see, I just have the one. You can also have background loops that play, and you can see from this button right here that this tells me that my background loop is active and it is playing. I do have my speaker turned off. You can also select different background loops. So you can see I have a couple loops that I've put on this card. And so that way, if you're out trooping or use this for multiple costumes, you can select different sounds that you want to play. You can also set the sound that's played if you're using a push-to-talk button. Now with the TKTalkie, you can have that push-to-talk button enabled and actually switch back and forth between voice activation mode and push-to-talk mode pretty easily just by holding the button down. So you don't have to worry about starting it with the button connected or disconnected. You can actually switch the operation while it's running. And the last screen is an equalizer screen, and this lets you really dial in your sound. You can see right here that you can have it turned on or off. This helps a lot with your overall sound, and I highly recommend testing this with your bucket on, and I wear my speaker behind my chest plate, so I like to put those on with my helmet to adjust my settings so I can see what it's really going to sound like. So one of the things that really contributes to a lot of feedback is a really trebly sound. So this equalizer lets you adjust your sound and maybe pull some of that treble out, maybe push up some of the mids. You can see right here you can control the bass, the mids, and the trebles, and that really helps you dial in your sound and then also tweak it to fit your needs. Then right up here we have this little gear icon. And what that lets me do is control the different profiles that are on the micro SD card of my TKTalkie. Now I said before you can have a lot of different profiles. This makes it really easy to switch back and forth between profiles. For example, if I'm out trooping and my speaker battery dies and I need to swap out my speaker for say at my Acre 1506, then all I have to do is click right on that and it'll switch that profile out, and those settings are optimized for that speaker. Now the star tells me which profile is the default profile on my device. So you can tell right there that my Pal Pro setup is my default profile, so that's what gets loaded every time my TKTalkie starts up. If I want to change that profile, I can simply select any one of those other stars. I can also click the trash can icon to delete that profile. Then right up here in the corner we have the device manager. Now I said earlier you can control multiple devices, and you can, obviously not at the same time. So what this lets you do is easily connect to different devices. You can even click this little plus symbol right up here to set up a new profile. Okay, so let's say we're done tweaking the settings. Now remember I said that whenever you update settings, that the TKTalkie is affected immediately, but nothing is permanent until you click the Save button. So let's click the Save button, and you'll see a few options here. Now first of all, if I want to leave this under the same profile, I just leave the file name the same. If I want to change it to a different profile, save it under a different profile, then I can just change that file name. You can see I can change the description, and also I can change the access code to the device. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Save button. Okay, and then we get an alert that the profile is saved. So now we're done adjusting settings and we saved the profile, so we can disconnect. and you hear the disconnect sound. So in the future, all I have to do now that I've set up my device is simply select this list right here, select my device, and then connect to it. And then of course all my settings are there. Okay guys, so there you go. There was a quick demo of the app and the capabilities of the TKTalkie. I get a lot of requests of people asking me if I will build these for them, and I just have not been able to do that. My schedule's not allowed that. However, I'm actually going to start offering these around the 1st of April just to schedule, due to schedule conflicts. It's going to take me till about the 1st of April to get ready to do this. If you check my website at TKTalkie.com, I will be opening up a little store, and you can go in there and order your TKTalkie and kind of customize it, pick the color of your case and some other stuff. So just check out my website, TKTalkie.com, and I will keep you updated. Thank you.